Technology. Good morning and welcome to Candid Conversations with me, Linda Burhans. We have two very special ladies on today's podcast, Graci and Kadi Tubbs, which I've known for quite a while. We live in the same town. We travel in some of the similar circles. But I love what they do. Their whole mission is Operation Military Matters. And military being very close to my heart. I have military people in my family. My granddaughter is in Germany with her husband right now in the military. So it's a big deal. And there are people there that don't get cards and don't get packages. So, all right, Graci, tell us how it started and what happened.
So I started Operation Military Matters when I was 9 years old in 4th grade. I am 15 right now, and I am in 9th grade. I'm a freshman in high school. And I started this project first because I had a service learning project assigned for my 4th grade gifted class. But at the time, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, being a 4th grader, I was obsessed with dogs. So I was like, I want to do something with dogs. That's what I'm going to do. So I ended up going to a Veterans Day assembly like the next week or like the next couple of days on Veterans Day. And so that year, we always had Veterans Day assemblies at our school, but that year we were able to ask the veterans questions. So a bunch of like the older kids at our school were asking them questions. And one of the questions that they asked the World War II veterans and the Vietnam veterans was, did you feel appreciated while serving overseas? And I was like, they're going to say yes, I appreciate them, so everyone else does too. But they said they didn't feel appreciated. And me as like 9 years old with both my grandpas in the military, my uncles, like I knew a lot of people in the military. So I was like, there's no way that they don't feel appreciated. So I knew I had to do something about it. So I decided that I was going to send care packages over the seas for my service learning project. I was just going to send one. And so...
just one.
Yeah. So I just packed up boxes, or I packed up like the toiletries in my house, anything left over from like hotels and stuff. So I just sent that one overseas, and I just fell in love with the idea.
How did you get your first address?
What?
Who was your first recipient? How did you get your first address?
I think we like asked around, and I think someone gave us a name.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's how we got the first one. And so I just sent that one, and I was like, okay, I'll use this at my service learning project. But I just fell in love with the idea. And so we've continued. And now almost 6 years, 6 years in November, we sent like almost 6,000 care packages and raised over like $130,000. So it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy how things, when you have a mission and this is such a good mission. I've had the opportunity to go on the honor flight and be an escort for someone on the honor flight.
That's awesome.
Which is just fabulous.
Yeah.
And when we come home that night from Washington, D.C., they give each person an envelope. It's called mail call, like they would have had in the service. And there's just letters that different people have written, just saying thank you for your service. And the woman that was with me, she was like 87 years old. And she was like, if anything more nice happens today, I can't take it. And she kept just reading everyone to me. Linda, somebody cared. It was, it's just a fabulous thing, because I really don't think that many people realize the sacrifices our military go through.
Right.
And loneliness is tough.
Yeah, they do sacrifice so much. But one thing that we've really found is that we try to do on our social media to let the military know how much they are appreciated. Like since we've been doing this, we've received thousands of letters from around the country, from kids, from adults that have written thank you cards to the military. And it is so awesome to get these cards and to see how much Americans do appreciate our military serving overseas, and all of our military. Mm-hmm. But it really is neat to be able to be on that end of it, where we're receiving all these cards that we take and we put them in the care packages when we send them out. But to see, like, we've had universities do care package parties. Oakland City University did a care package party. Then they send them to us and we send them out. And it's just, isn't it neat to see?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Well, I'm wondering, couldn't like a block association or something just get together a whole bunch of people and have a party?
Yeah.
Yeah, and they do. They collect items for us. A lot of organizations and like mobile home parks, schools, businesses, they collect items for us, and then we pick them up or they drop them off and we put them in the care packages. So it really is neat to see how many people do donate. Now, when we say Gracie's raised about $130,000 over the past 6 years of cash. Now that goes to pay for the care packages. Each care package right now is $18.75. Each care package that we ship, and it's a large flat rate box, is $18.75. So she's raised about $130,000 just in cash. But now you got to remember, all the stuff that goes in it is about $20 of items. So that is over probably, $500,000 that we've been able to raise over the past few years of donations and different things like that. So it really is neat to see how Americans come together.
And time too, if
Yes.
you think about it. A lot of time, like
Yeah.
a lot of hours that people spend that, I mean, they could be like,
Yeah.
or
Packing and getting stuff together and collecting stuff and contacting people. It's a mission.
and like all the volunteers that come, like they volunteer their time to be there when they could be like, doing something, maybe going somewhere for fun or working or being with their family. And they come because they really support and love our military and love like the mission and want to show them that we care about them. So that's like the most important thing, is just making sure that everyone in our military feels really appreciated, and veterans too, to show them that we care about them, because I know it's hard. I can't even imagine, but
yeah, especially now they've been quarantined and everything. My granddaughter's like, the honeymoon is over, Grandma. Some people.
We've received emails and about the quarantine, about the military being in the quarantine. And when we were all in quarantine last year, we were still able to send out the care packages for about a month. We were not allowed to because they weren't accepting any care packages.
Right.
But once the quarantine was lifted, we still were able to get 100 care packages a month out. And they couldn't believe it. They would write us and say, how did you get the items? We can't get anything over here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We can't, like, even still, some of them can't go to where they go and eat. Like they can't sit and eat at the tables where they have like.
They just have to like bring it back.
Right. They have to bring it back.
Yeah.
They don't even get, some of the food. And they're like, thank you so much for the food and the snacks that you sent us, because we're not able to get it all right now because of COVID.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's unbelievable. And I just think volunteering is an important thing. And Gracie, you're the young people that give me hope for our future. Cry, I'm telling you. But because it really makes a difference. I'm in Kiwanis and all that stuff. And I tell my grandchildren, service work is not a choice. Service work is a responsibility. And we all need to be part of our town and of missions and of things because we make a difference in the world.
Mm-hmm.
We really make a difference in the world. And so I'm thinking people could even just make cards to give to you to send out.
Yeah, you can make cards, or that's probably like one of their favorite things, is to get handwritten cards, because it just means like so much to them, and they would rather have the card than anything else, because they get to read those. And I've heard a bunch of military men that have come back or just talked to us, veterans that we've given cards to, have said they've kept the cards and like have them, and like some like have them on their wall or like with them in their pocket like all the time, so you can read them. And it's like, it's just really cool to think that one of your cards could be like make a difference in someone.
Yeah. When I was looking on the website, you see the pictures of the military people. You see the cards and the letters, and people need that human connection always.
Yeah.
And a lot of these young men and women are in strange places they've never been in before. They're just homesick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To get that. And like I say, anybody can contribute. I have a 95-year-old woman that I've been interviewing for a while. Mama Rose, she's just brilliant. And recently she's been feeling like she doesn't have any purpose. So I went to see her a couple weeks ago, and I said, Mama, I get myself involved in all this stuff I think I can do by myself, but I really can't do everything by myself.
Yeah.
And there are boys in the military and people that don't get anything. Could you start making me cards? So she's on a mission to make me cards every week. So I'll be bringing you a whole bunch of cards for her.
That's awesome. That's also like another huge thing that it goes into what we do, is because not only is it impacting the military, but it's giving so many people a purpose. And I know that we love to do it because I know that my mom, like, it's her full-time, like, she does it all the time now because she wants to make sure that everything's like as best as it can be to give the military like the best support we can get. And it gives so many people like down here a purpose and in the military, but by giving to others, it just makes you feel so good.
Mm-hmm.
And especially like there's so many kids from like age 2 to age, how old is like
Joan's 85. We have a 85-year-old person that helps us. Tell her about
she's
Joan.
like she's one of our like favorite people in the world. She's the sweetest person ever. And she we've met her through Operation Military Matters, and she donated when I first started when I was like 9.
Mm-hmm.
I spoke at Seminole City Hall.
Mm-hmm.
With Mayor Leslie Waters, and she let me speak there, and Joan heard about it and saw our collection box at Seminole City Hall, and so she put something, and we gave her a call, and she just came out and helped us, and now she's like part of the family. She comes all the time.
Mm-hmm.
She makes all the hats, and she's like really good at everything. So
she knits hats.
Yeah.
She knits hats. That's what what she does. So she's always been part of a knitting group. She's in the Widows Club. She does a lot. She volunteers a lot.
But it gives her such a purpose.
Right. That's what she said. She said, it gives me purpose. So she knits a hat. It takes her 2 days to knit each hat. And she knits a hat for almost every care package
Mm-hmm.
that we send out.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't knit it, she gets her group. She has a group of women all over Pinellas County that knit hats. And so they all knit hats. These hats go in there. And the funniest thing was, I think it was about 1.5 years ago, we send them out and the troops get them. And a lot of times we'll get little notes about the hats. And one time we got an email and it had all of the military, like about 8 or 10 of them in the hats. And they did a photo shoot for her. And she was like, oh my gosh, if they're doing a photo shoot, I got to get knitting.
Yeah. It's so cute. Like how it just impacts like so many people.
Mm-hmm. And she said it gives her purpose. It does. It gives her purpose, but it helps us and it helps the military. Like it is a, everybody's doing something and we all feel good about what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even with her and her knitting buddies, there's kind of a camaraderie there.
Yeah.
Women used to get together over hanging clothes on the clothesline and doing that. We don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
We need to get together and do things. It's good for our soul.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just so important. And I see, because I deal with seniors mostly.
Yeah.
So many seniors that just give them a purpose.
Yeah.
Give them something. It could be sticking stamps on envelopes.
Yeah.
If that's all they can do, but they get to feel part of it.
Yeah. Because the simplest things can make a huge difference. And that's what I've learned a lot through this nonprofit, is that there's so many good people out there, because I didn't know like how many good people were out there because of this crazy world. But there are so many good people who want the opportunity to do something good for the community, because with everything going on, you really only see like the negatives instead of seeing all the positives. And there are so many good things and so many people that want to help. And so I've seen so many people that have said like, this is awesome because I wanted to do this, but I just didn't know like how. So like you said, getting together is so good, because when you just do the littlest things, it just makes a huge impact. And whether you know it or not, like one stamp on one package or one card can make such a big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm an avid card sender just to people in general. And people always say, well, how did you know I needed that card? I don't know. God kind of tells you what to do.
Right.
Or it came just the day I needed it. I'm like, good.
Yeah, we just had just last week actually. We usually try to send about 100 care packages every month. Our last shipment, a lot of them went to Poland, and they wrote us a special note, which was really neat. I could read it to you and then tell you a story. I put it on my phone just so I could read it to you because I thought it was such a good note. So this came from Poland last week. I have just received a care package through your organization along with the rest of my company. We are currently in Poland, and it has been rough here, to say the least. With COVID being away from home and our workload, we have all been a little down and unmotivated. We just got the care packages about an hour ago, and everyone's morale has completely changed. Smiles and laughter all around. This was such a positive, wholesome thing to happen at a time when we were all just thinking about going home. It might not seem like much to send these packages, but I can assure you that we are all immensely grateful for this pick-me-up. I appreciate the support, and I thank you all. This was exactly what we needed to get us through until we get back home. So that letter came from a guy in Poland, and then he said, I got this little card from this 7-year-old in the care package. He wrote us, and I said, he goes, do you know what school it was from? And we get, like I said, we get hundreds of cards. So I said, can you send me a picture of it? Because they're allowed to email, which is nice. So he sent me a picture, and I found it. It was from a school in, was it California? Yeah, I think it was from a school it was California. And they had sent these cards. So I called the school actually just to make sure that they had this girl, because they only put their first name, but it said, oh, it was Colorado. I'm sorry. She said, I'm 7 and I live in Colorado. And so I knew which school it was. And so I called there and I talked to the lady because she had known me from when they were sending stuff. And I said, do you have this little girl there? And they said, yes. And she's in first grade. I said, well, a guy from the military would like to send her a thank you note because it really made a difference. So I said, be on the lookout for that. And I said, isn't that neat? You guys send all those cards from the kids, the elementary school down to us. We put them in the care packages. So we're going from Colorado to Seminole, Florida. Yeah. And then we sent them out and they went to Poland. And it just brightened their day, the guys that were in Poland. Yeah. So it was really neat.
Recently, my uncle passed away last year, and he was in Vietnam. He was always my idol when I was a kid. He was my favorite uncle and everything. So I've been going through stuff, and I used to write him once a week in Vietnam. And I was in the 4-H. I used to send him 4-H candies and stuff. And it just made me feel like closer to him, and it even just closened our whole relationship over the years. Because that contact, people need that contact. So, and then there was no internet, there was no telephone calls, there was no nothing. But I just remember that we just need to reach out to people, because we're all exactly the same. I always say, we want to be loved, we want our health, we want a roof over our head. We may have different hobbies or interests, but basically we're exactly the same. And when we realize that, you meet so many cool people.
Yeah.
There's no judgments. It's just, let's work together. A few months ago, my husband passed away, and I brought 3 of his shirts to hospice, to Seasons Hospice. And I went back 3 months later, and they made them into teddy bears.
Oh.
Yeah, so one was like his favorite flannel shirt, and one was my daughter's shirt that she liked the most, and the one for my granddaughter who's in Germany was the shirt that he wore to her wedding. So it was just like, oh my goodness, when I picked him up, I was so overwhelmed. But when I got home, I sent an email and said, could you give me the name of the woman that made these? I would like to say thank you to her. And they said, no, you could drop something off. He said, but a 12-year-old girl made those bears. She makes them with her grandma. And I thought, so I'm hoping to contact with her because I would love to have her on one of the podcasts. Because what a difference that makes in somebody's life.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking, I still have one of my mother's fur coats. Imagine making that into a teddy bear.
Wow, that's a really neat idea.
Something you have forever kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like you say, I'm sure people have some of those cards that they're carrying with them in their pockets. or they're hanging on their locker, or they got it framed on their table, just to remember those good feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And to remember those differences. All right, so let's because I'm going to tell everybody to go to the website. Tell people what are some of the things that you put in the care packages that they can start collecting to get to you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Our website is operationmilitarymatters.com, and we collect toiletries, games, candy, not chocolate though, because that melts. Any type of candy, any type of like what's like the
crackers,
food, like
granola
snacks,
bars,
anything that you think that we like. What? Yeah, beef jerky, like
crossword
games,
books, crossword puzzle books.
Okay.
With games that they can do.
Obviously, cards.
We like to send wipes in a lot, like baby wipes or flushable wipes, because sometimes they are not by a place where they can shower or anything, and so they use the wipes just to wipe them, to wipe themselves down. Toothbrush, toothpaste,
sanitizer, like soaps and conditioner, body washes, like stuff like that.
Small travel size things are the best.
Yeah.
And of course, the candies and the games to do. We can't ship anything that's like an aerosol, so no aerosols. Okay. Let's see. Those are probably, we always can use pens, stamps. They told us that they do need stamps, pens,
that's a good idea.
Paper, writing paper is great. We do send in each care package writing paper, a pen, and we put birthday cards in there so they can send back to their family if they wanted to. So we try to put something like that in there for them. And that's pretty much, there's a list on our website. If you want to find out more, you can go to our website. We have a full list there of different items, and we have places where you can drop them off, and we're always happy to pick them up too.
Yeah. So for our listeners, that's operationmilitarymatters.com. And the information will be below and on YouTube and everything once this is posted. Anything else you want to say to our listeners today?
I don't know. I just think it's really neat when I picked up Gracie for school to come do this interview, we had a call from South Korea, which was really, it was really cool. One of the military members had called us, and we don't usually get calls. We usually get emails or something in the mail, a letter.
Or like most of the time we don't get anything because they're overseas.
Right. And we don't expect to ever hear anything. We don't ever expect to hear anything. But today we got a call from South Korea. So I think that he said they're 11 hours different. So he was just getting off his shift.
It was like midnight.
Yeah. And so it was really neat. He was just so thankful for his care package that he got, that he had to call us and tell us how thankful he was. And he goes, you don't know how much this means to me. And at first, when I saw South Korea on my phone, I was like, oh, isn't it? But then when he got on there and he was talking to us and everything, it was just really, really neat to know how much of a difference that these care packages are making in our military members' lives. And it's not what we're putting in there, because these are just basic items. But I think it's the fact, they're saying it's the fact that people care about us, and they, you don't know us. You have no idea who we are, and you're sending us a care package. So
I have to say to the people that are listening to this today, go to the dollar store, pick up a bunch of stuff. It's very easy to do. Bring your children and your grandchildren with you to encourage them to do it. How cool would that be for them to go together and just do it as a project? We all have so much here.
And anyone can make a difference, no matter how old you are, or whatever you can do helps, So that's always good to know, because I didn't know.
I'm going to get my grandsons on it.
Yeah, because I didn't know when I was 9 years old that I could make a difference. I was just I'm a little kid, never thought that I could do something like that can make an impact the same as someone else. So I didn't know, but now I obviously do. And that has honestly changed my life a lot, this organization and everything that we do. So it's
and
good.
all the fabulous people you get to meet. That's what I love when I get involved in things. You get to meet such cool people.
Yeah.
When we first started, Gracie got to speak to a unit that was in Orlando. Sergeant Major Dave Kavanaugh was listening to the news, just like listening to maybe a podcast, and he heard Gracie speak, and she was probably 10 at the time, I think. And he said, I got to get that girl to come speak to my troops before we deploy to Iraq. And so little did she know this 10-year-old would go to Orlando, speak in front of 300 men and women that were going to be deployed to Iraq for a year. And she got up there and she spoke, and it was the neatest thing to see the military and to have them know that kids appreciate them and what they're doing. And that was really a turning point for us. Sergeant Major Kavanaugh was able to talk to us from Iraq and tell us what they needed. We sent hundreds of care packages to him and the men and women that were serving over there. He came back and he helped us with a care package party, him and his wife. And he was like, you don't know how much it meant to have the care packages, have the support from back home. And he goes, I want to support those men and women that are going over now. And so it was really cool to have him come and help us with the packing party, and just kind of to talk to the volunteers and tell them how much it meant to him.
Yeah.
Well, Gracie, you're a fabulous young lady, and Kadi, we know you're the bomb mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
18, so thank you so much for all you do. I'll be seeing you at Kiwanis soon, and I'll put all the information, and hopefully some people will contact you.
Perfect.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah, you do.
Thanks.
You do a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.